right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Declassified. We have another good episode for you tonight. We're going to be diving back into the world of the paranormal. We're going to be talking about ghosts. We're going to be talking about orbs and I'm going to break down my opinion of what I think orbs are. And I'm going to show you some video evidence of maybe an orb interacting with someone. We're going to talk sea creatures or sea monsters. I like to stay away from the word monster, but it's kind of categorized as that. We are also going to be talking about vampires and then night walkers. So that's something that's specifically in Fresno, kind of more of a traditional cryptid, but we're going to talk about that. And as always, we're going to end it with more of I would say a longer clip, but it's definitely one that has a lot of paranormal and it kind of picks up and the activity intensifies as it goes on. So I want to welcome all the VIP members and I want to thank you all for subscribing. Remember, every person that you get to subscribe, that's one additional free month for you. So essentially, the more people you get to join, the bigger our family gets, and then also the more months you get for free as far as being a VIP membership. So I want to welcome you to Declassified. Once again, let's get into it and let's talk about something that not everyone really believes in. However, I would say everyone knows about, that being vampires. Now, when we talk about vampires, there's a lot of lore behind it. It's, I would say, a historical thing, right? So depending on where you are and your belief on it, I think it initially, if you were to go to a scientist and kind of ask them, hey, what are vampires? They're going to tell you, if you look back older times, there was a type of disease or kind of sickness that would basically, the transformations in your body would make you look very vampire-esque. Now, that's your scientific kind of answer to it. But what if there's people out there that have some kind of abilities? Now, I say vampire, but I guess you could also spin this in the direction of maybe Wolfman, right? So I'm going to show you something, and I could not find the clip of the one where they actually had the audio, but the audio you're really going to hear is, if you were to go and find the original video, it's just a bunch of people in the background speaking a different language and going, oh my gosh, and stuff like that. So this is a clip right here. I'm going to play it. There's not really a whole lot of audio to go with it. This is someone, I would say, who has a crazy party trick, because there are people that will get him to do this. There's videos all over the internet of this. So this is not just like an isolated event. He'll show us the inside of his mouth first to show us that he's not hiding anything in there. And then you will literally watch fangs grow from this kid's mouth. So here's the video. Not a whole lot of audio to go with it. I'm going to break it down for you, but let's go full screen. So right here, you're going to see him start to kind of shift, move his body a little bit, and he kind of grabs down almost like he's a little bit in pain. And then you start to see that if we take a look at his mouth one more time, you're going to start to see that there's actually kind of fangs right there. So I'm going to kind of go this isn't the best video that they have. This one right here is the best video. Let's see. All right. I think right here, yep, he's showing us the inside of his mouth, showing us that nothing's there, showing us kind of all angles. And now I'm going to get over here in case I need to pause this. We're going to be looking. So he's got nothing in his hands, and now he's going to start his body starts contorting in a weird way. He always seems to go down and kind of grab. And then right there, I'm going to go back a couple seconds to where he kind of flips his head forward. Like right here, if we take a look on the side of the screen right here, those fangs weren't there a few minutes ago. Okay, so they're there now. And I don't know entirely if, this is one of those ones where I would have to see this in person before I really go on the full end of, yeah, okay, this is like, these are fangs growing out, right? But it's intriguing nonetheless. Now, the audio, if it was here, like I said, it's just people freaking out in the background. But we watched him. We watched him look, open his mouth, open his lips, look around, and didn't seem to have anything there. And then he moves around, and then these fangs start to grow. So he continues. And I do believe, I can't remember if every time he makes the fangs go away, it's kind of seeming like he does. And he may or may not kind of show us the inside of his mouth again. But apparently here he is again, and it looks like this one does have some audio.
Estamos diante do famoso vampiro. Olha para aqui.
And that's a good shot right there of kind of the fangs. I mean, now we're actually looking directly at this, and it seems like every time he does this, his eyes go back. But I don't know. This is one of those things in the world. Now we're talking different culture. So culturally, there's different things out there. Remember, we talked about jinns being one of them, different types of haunts. We talked a lot about those over the last couple shows specifically, but very possible here, right? Look at this.
Isso aconteceu. Agora manda os dentes para dentro. Ok. Abre a boca.
That was kind of crazy. Like, if you look at how quick he just shook his head and they disappeared. Now, I don't know what that is. This could be 100% fake, could be real. I would have to be there to actually kind of see this take place.
Esse é o famoso vampiro. Toca para gritar.
This next one, we're going to go over to the water. Now, we haven't really spent a whole lot of time, and this is not really the best footage I've ever really seen, but I do want to share it. It is intriguing. So, sea creatures. Now, the most notorious one being the Loch Ness monster. A lot of people believe that, there are sightings, although they're rare. There are some when you go up towards the more northern parts of the world as well too. Somewhere you would have like glaciers and ice. So people think that they see them all over, and it's not just Nessie or the Loch Ness monster. Here is a clip of someone who recorded something in the water. Now, they're jumping to sea monster or sea creature, but there's nothing that you're going to see here that's over the top. But we're going to talk about it. So you're going to see, and we're kind of looking right here. So we're looking at these little tiny humps that are coming out of the water. Now, a lot of times when you think sea creature, you're going to have to think, okay, is it a log floating in the water? Is it debris? Is it seaweed? Is it a seal? Is it any kind of other animal? But the way this moves isn't quite like any other animal. It's a little bigger in size as well. So here's the video. Let's take a look at it.
¿Qué es? ¿Ah?
Now, the traditional thing, it's like every time someone captures something, they're zoomed in and they're complete idiots, and then they start moving the camera all over the place. Like, if you're going to zoom in on something, just keep your camera there, set it down on something, and try to be somewhat intelligent. But that's kind of what we were looking at. They zoom out, and I think they try to zoom back in.
¿Se hundieron?
No hay nada. Allá otro.
Oye, pero ¿y la gente no se ha dado cuenta? Se los come todo. Salimos arrancando.
Now, a little context. What you hear in the background, and you're going to hear some guy freaking out. He's trying to yell at those other people to get them out of the water. I don't think they ever listen, but...
¡Cuidado!
Then the kids start screaming and they're like, we're out. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Really what we're looking at is right here. So this is it. There's some humps in the water. They're kind of looking right here. Now, I've got to say, the fact that we can kind of see it clearly here, and then it does eventually go away to the point where most of that video, you're really just looking at the ripples and the waves in the water, does lead to, okay, there was something there. If it was a piece of wood, if it was debris, if it was seaweed or anything like that, it would generally stay at the same spot in the water. I mean, it would float through the river, through the lake, whatever it is, but it would stay floating. Whereas this, it surfaces and then it kind of disappears. So it's something living, right? Now, that doesn't mean that it's not a whale or an otter or a seal or anything like that. We just don't know. And the way this moves to a seal or anything like that would have to come up out of the water again eventually, which as this just kind of disappears, people kind of freak out and then they move on. So I'll play it one more time and then we'll continue. So we see it moving in the water.
¿Qué es? ¿Ah?
And that's when they start yelling and they start yelling, get out of the water, or that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm going to try to dig deeper because I do like the whole sea creature or sea cryptid kind of thing. So I'm going to look for some more clips. Maybe next week we'll dive a little bit deeper into this because this is something that I do think we haven't really spent a lot of time on, and it's something that we need to. So this is kind of just that we're teeing ourselves up for next episode where I'm going to pull more sea creature clips. Now, when we talk about some other things, this is what I promised. These are your Fresno Nightwalkers. This is something that has been happening for a while, so it's not anything new. This was captured on CCTV. No, actually, one of them was CCTV. This was just someone's security camera, so this is in someone's driveway. Not entirely clear. But what we're looking at, top left, we're going to see that there are things. And the best way I can describe it is it looks like if you had your socks in a ball and then just two legs. That's literally it. Now you can kind of see them coming into the top left of the screen. So right up here, we have one, and they're just going to they just walk. That's all they do, is they just kind of walk right across the screen. And they've been spotted more than once. So they're literally called the Fresno Nightwalkers. So this is an occurrence that happens a lot. Now we're going to see, here they are kind of walking. They literally look like a pair of pants. It's kind of what they look like. This was captured on someone's security footage. This was in their driveway. This is one video that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the original to when they originally first got spotted. But this is just a cryptid. Now, what a cryptid is it's kind of another word for a monster, but it's something that's out there. Now, as far as reports, these are not known to be dangerous in any way. They don't even talk. They don't make noise. They just go and they just kind of do their thing. So as they're walking, that's it. They like cruising town, just walking around. But that's kind of what they're looking for. And it looks like that's at about 1 o'clock at night. So a little bit before 1 o'clock at night. Now we have another clip. This is the original one that was found. So this is also a, what they call a night walker. So we'll kind of take a look at this. I don't really think there's any audio for this. Now, older, this is a real old video, but what we're looking at here is the same thing, but now you're going to get a little bit of a better look at it. So like I said, it's kind of just got like, it's almost like if it was from the waist down. Height wise though, these are a lot taller. So they're reported to be about like 6 feet or so. And you know, that can vary. I think in this one, you see a big one and then you see a small one. And then it's literally just walking through a field. That's all it's doing, is just walking through a field. And that's all they do. And every time there's been a report or anything along those lines, this is what they see, and this is what it looks like. Never any attacks, never anything dangerous. They're just they just cruise around and they just do their thing. So let me know, has anyone ever really heard of those? So any VIP members, any listeners right now, let me know. Have you heard of these, or are there any cryptids that we have missed so far that you want to go over? Because I'm more than happy to do research. I'm more than happy to learn about some of the other things that are out there as well too. So this is it. This is an interesting one. I would not be scared to go and actually look for these. So like when it comes to adventures and kind of going out and looking at, you know, the paranormal, this is one that I think if any of our listeners wanted to go out and take a look at, they could. Now, locationally, they're kind of in specific areas, but very doable here. Very doable. Now the next one is also CCTV. This is one that kind of comes over from overseas. Again, it seems like all of the crazy stuff that's really encountered is from overseas. Backstory on this one, from what I understand, this used to be a building where all kinds of stuff happened, like a school at one point, and then I do believe it was in some form like a hospital as well too. This is a video, security footage, and it's out in kind of the yardway or what you would call like the backyard, or the, I can't think of the word, like what do prisons have? Prisons, huh? What do prisons have as far as like courtyards? That's what it would be called. This is in a courtyard. It's a camera facing down at the door. Now, abandoned building at this point. From everything I've done my research on and everything I understand, this is an abandoned building at this point. Now, you're going to see something kind of open the doors, and then, well, correction, the doors are going to fly open. Then you're going to see something reach out and close the doors. I'm going to play the video. Again, not a whole lot of audio because it's CCTV. But the doors are going to open up. Then you see something go out and close the doors and go back in. Now, we're going to watch that again. That was real quick. Here's what we need to remember. A building is abandoned, so no one's there, no one's occupying it. Now, they do have a lot of people that go and ghost hunt there, so possibility of that actually being someone, maybe. But what everyone is saying is that they actually named this guy Skeletor. It's not a skeleton, but we're going to break it down again. And when we watch it this time, kind of take a look. Doors open, something steps out, and first glance, what I really see right here, and when I'm looking at this, I see a robe. I genuinely see someone in a robe right here. And I'm looking at it. So depending on what era this entity is from or this apparition's from, it could be wearing that time frame. It steps out, it grabs the door. And this is where it gets that name Skeletor, is because people are looking at this face right here and they're saying it looks like a skeleton. So, okay, maybe it does. But I don't think that it's really a skeleton. Like, I still have yet to really ever see any videos of like skeletons like that moving around. What I think is, remember when we talked about ghost brides, we talked about like just ghosts looking at you, and how I said I really hate how they have the pale face and the dark eyes. This coincides with that. So looks like a skeleton just because it's kind of grainy footage. But what we're kind of leaning towards is this more looks like a full body apparition with the pale face, and the era of whatever it's from, whatever time it's from, is kind of what it's wearing. So then it closes the doors. And I guess right there too, they're saying kind of looks like a skeleton. But what I would encourage you, apart from skeleton, think about all the other ghosts we've seen up until this point. Looks very similar to this face that is right here. Okay. And then it eventually closes the doors, and then it kind of goes off. This is another reason that I don't think it's a skeleton. I think that it is a ghost, because this guy is going to tell us a story. And this story, this is another one of those where I don't like looking at this face because it gives me chills every time. But here it is. It's a guy who's going to tell us a story about how his house is haunted.
Lights were flickering inside the refrigerator, and I thought that was strange. I had never seen it before. But what really creeped me out was the light in the bathroom started flickering, and I heard water running. So I kind of snuck around the corner, and the water was on. As I started to walk away from the bathroom after cutting the water off, I kind of heard something behind me, and that was actually this door here that closed. That's when I really truly got freaked out.
Okay. So initially it's starting off just like any other haunt, really, right? So I don't know if I've ever shared it on this show. I have shared it on the After Hours show. But when I grew up in a haunted house, I had that same thing happen to me. So I was in the kitchen. I was at the computer, which was maybe, I don't know, 50 feet away from a sink. And the sink started running water. I went over. I tried to turn it on, tried to turn it off. It wouldn't turn on, or sorry, it turned on and it was running water, but it wouldn't turn off even if I jiggled the handle. So eventually out loud, I said, okay, when you're done, turn that off. And then instantly the water stopped running. And I was back at the computer at the time. So things like this, your standard haunt is kind of going on right here.
Cody walks outside and calls his girlfriend to tell her what's been going on. She tells him to stay out of the house.
I said, well, look, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to keep filming because I don't know what to expect.
And when he does, he finds the kitchen in total disarray.
Which, by the way, I've always said, and I've said, I don't know if I've said this on air, like if I ever had a house and this was happening where like I came in, I don't know if I would really be pissed that things were moving, but I would be pissed that I had to pick them up. So I would probably be more angry than anything. And to the point where actually my house here, you know, it seems like activity picks up when there's no one living across the street from us, and they move out every, you know, couple months or so. So there's always new people. So I'm genuinely convinced that house is haunted. Most recent thing is I went out and there was a book in the middle of the room, which there's no way that book has been sitting on that bookshelf for like probably 2 years at this point. And there's no way it would end up in the middle of the room if it just fell off. So I wish I would have captured that, but it was so random. It was like out of the blue. But let's continue with this.
Chairs were on the floor, knocked over. All the cabinets were open. Nope. I said, nope, I'm going back outside. I don't know what this is.
Which is a great quote, by the way. He said, nope, I'm out.
I got scared.
After 2 hours, Cody finally musters up the courage to go back inside the house.
I went through every single room looking for somebody, thinking maybe somebody had gotten in and they were just trying to scare me. I checked every room, under every bed.
He doesn't find anyone.
The 4th or 5th time I had watched the video, I noticed something in the corner of the room, which is actually my daughter's room. So I screenshotted it and I just zoomed in on it.
Ooh, I hate looking at.
My heart just dropped. I could feel my face, all the blood.
Oh man, that's giving me chills right there. Things like this is what I'm talking about. Now remember we were talking about Skeletor. I don't even want to look at that. That is really creepy. Remember we were talking about Skeletor. This could very well be the same kind of thing. So everything that's giving me chills. Everything that we talked about as far as the pale face, the eyes, it coincides with what an apparition looks like. This is another case where this is probably a genuine apparition.
I noticed something in the corner of the room, which is actually my daughter's room. So I screenshotted it and I just zoomed in on it. My heart just dropped. I could feel my face, all the blood in my face ran. I mean, it scared me.
Oh, and I'm going to leave it there. I don't like looking at this. I got it on 2 screens. But again, if this is everything that we've talked about ghost brides, we've talked about, little girls in the woods that are ghosts. We played that drone footage a while ago. All of it, we're seeing a pattern, right? So this is probably genuine, right? In my mind, this is probably genuine. But we're going to kind of step away from this for a second, but think Skeletor. The one reason I wanted to bring it up was because when we talked about that Skeletor, people are saying it looks like a skeleton. Yeah, it kind of does. But more than anything, what I think it looks like is a true apparition, because we have the pale face, we have the deep dark eyes, very much like we're seeing right here, which is still giving me goosebumps. It's coinciding. So I think when we compare this to that, we have similarities across the world. So this one's in the United States. Skeletor is not. It's overseas. So I think we have something in both scenarios here. Now, we're going to move on to the next. I've said this from kind of day one. Anyone who's really been investigating with me or has shown me footage, I'm not impressed with UFOs if it's just a dot in the sky. I think it's cool. I do genuinely think it's cool, but I'm not overly like, oh my God. And then orbs. So like a lot of times people will bring me pictures of orbs and things like that, and they'll be like, look, my house is haunted. I took a picture and it has orbs. I'm like, nah, well, okay. I get where you would say that. I understand why you're saying that, but I don't genuinely think that your house is haunted because you have orbs. All orbs are, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, all orbs are is just energy. They're basically balls of energy. Now, what that energy is, we don't know. That could be some kind of manifestation from something spiritual or paranormal, or it could just be all concentrated pockets of energy. Now, and that could lead to a lot of other things. This is the kind of video that would impress me if we had an orb, though. So what we're going to be looking at is there's an orb kind of right here in the center of the screen. And let me go full screen so I can make it a little easier for you. There's an orb kind of right here in the center of the screen. It is going to float down and it is going to touch this guy right here. Now, what kind of makes me look at this video a little bit differently than other orb videos is we see a reaction. Okay, so now here's what I want to say. I don't think that the orb is touching this guy. I think that the orb is just the result of an entity being there. So we can't see the entity on the camera, but the entity manifesting enough energy to touch someone would and possibly could have shown itself in orb form, if that makes sense. Two separate things. I think the orb is a result of whatever energy was gathered. And then I also think that there's something else kind of going on here too. So we'll take a look at the video. So the orb, it's going to kind of hover there for a second, and then it's going to start to go down. Now, as it goes down, you're going to see it kind of touch this guy on the shoulder. Now the guy starts to kind of shake and kind of move. Now, I've watched this multiple times. As it goes down, I've been looking like all over. I've been trying to figure out, does the kid kind of touch his dad in the back or something like that? But the more I watch it, kind of what I'm seeing is the dad freaks out, the kid kind of jumps back and then starts laughing. So the dad freaks out, the kid turns around. Now the dad's kind of looking around for all kinds of stuff. So I don't know. I mean, did this orb actually touch someone? I can't say 100%. But as far as orb videos, it's more than your average orbs floating around. It gets down to the neck. The dude kind of freaks out. And then he's looking around. So I don't know. That's one where I kind of look at it and I kind of want to just, look at it a couple more times. There's no audio here. This was just security footage. I think they probably pulled it after it happened. They wanted to see what was going on. It's an interesting one, that's for sure. Now, let's move on to this next one. This one is going to be narrated by a guy. I hate when people try to narrate their own videos, but this one is a dog who is apparently home by itself, and then there is a ghost that is, I don't know, just trying to play with the dog or trying to scare the dog. I don't really know. Here's the video.
Here I got the camera that caught everything on tape. This is the hallway right here. This is the doorway for the office. And like I said before, nobody was on this floor. So I'm about to play this clip, and I just want you guys to think while you're watching this. Does this look right? Now I'm gonna play it one more time for you guys so you can have another look.
Now we see the dog kind of go sliding across.
Now I'm not gonna lie. My first conclusion for this was that I put a plastic cereal wrapper in there that the cereal's in the night before. She's a greedy dog. She was trying to get in it in the morning. There's no one there to disturb her, and maybe she can sneak something, try and get something, and her foot knocked it, she got spooked by something, and she ran out with it roughly the same time.
All right, so we've kind of seen this, and we've seen the dog. It kind of runs, it slides, and then it keeps going. The dude's gonna start talking about how the trash can is still rocking back and forth. Depending on what's in there, it could definitely rock back and forth a few times. I do think this could potentially be paranormal. I just don't like this guy's reasoning. So he continues.
So I'm gonna rewind it for you guys, and I'm gonna pause it and show you guys why I don't think she could have done this.
So now
right
he's
here,
kind of going back.
Like you guys just saw, the bin and her came out at roughly the exact same time. In the last clip, for her to push it, she'd have to be behind it. To get that much force on it, for it to hit all the way across the hallway and to hit that hard, she'd have to be behind it and hit her with her nose or her paws if she could somehow. But she's not. She's right beside it. And look, she's running. She's hauling ass out of the office. She's scared. This thing's being thrown at her or at her direction, and she's racing it out. You guys saw how fast she ran out the first 2 times I showed you. Does this look like a dog that knocked this bin out? I don't think so. I've watched this so many times because I was amazed at how this happened. And my conclusion is ghost. And I'm gonna play the clip and show you guys why I also think this is it. So the bin's there and the bin rolls, it hits the back wall here, and it keeps rolling. Normally when the bin hits, I try doing this, it stops, or it'll roll for about 40 seconds max. And as you can see here, I'm about to play it through. This thing rolls for about a minute or 2, and she's running around, her tail's beneath her legs, and my mom comes down the stairs. She sees the bin, sees that there's no one down here. How the hell did the dog get the bin down here? And she goes back upstairs because she doesn't screw with this ghost crap. So she goes back up, and the bin...
She doesn't screw with this ghost crap, all right? So, okay, all right. So I'm trying to keep this on the Declassified thing and not the After Hours show. I was going to make fun of this dude for sounding like that and still living with his mom, but I won't say that. Now, I think what I would have liked to see, if you're going to take the time to go and show us this video, I would have also liked to see you actually grab that trash can and try to replicate this scenario. The other unfortunate thing is the only time to really do that is with the exact same things that are in that trash can right there, and then you try to recreate it. If you can't, then you might have something. Now, I do think this could potentially be paranormal. I have dogs, I've seen my dog's kind of going a little bit blind, older dog. So sometimes she will touch something and freak herself out. So that is always a possibility. I do think there is something to this where no one else is around and kind of it's happening, but it's another thing that's out there too.
Bin is still spinning. I don't know if you guys have been looking at this, but the whole time she came down, the bin is still rolling back and forth. And at some points it gets slower, and then it picks up speed again, which is kind of weird. And it keeps going. And I don't know. You guys tell me, what's up with this? Do you think it's some paranormal activity stuff? Do you think we're joking around, we're screwing with you? You guys leave in the comments and you tell me.
All right, so here's where I stand on this. I'm going to tell you right now, big boy. I think that it could potentially be paranormal. Like I said, I'd like to see a couple of those debunking stages take place to try to figure out what's going on, try to replicate it. Don't ever voice over a video again, though. Okay, that's where I stand. So I think this could be something. At this point, am I going to say your house is haunted? No. Okay. Angle-wise, yes. Okay, it looks like something's going on, but do we have enough here to actually say your house is haunted? No. Is this the only thing that has ever happened? That's the other thing, right? So if to all these people as well too, like if you just have one thing happen in your house and it kind of freaks you out, but you're not quite sure, the other thing you have to look at is that the only time it's ever happened? So I would ask this person, is this the only event that has ever taken place? And after this, nothing else happened. I would say, okay, it's probably the dog. Now, if this happens and then you have clips of other things moving, or you witness it for yourself, now you have something that's a little bit more credible. So let's be realistic too. Like, we don't want to be the kind of investigators that see this and we're like, oh, the house is haunted. It's a demon. Come on. I mean, so realistically, one, is this the only thing that's ever happened? If it is, it's probably not a ghost. And I would need to see those tests that you kind of take to make sure that it's genuine. So that's it. Let's see. Now, as far as objects moving, let me show you the kind of evidence that I'm talking about. So this is one where normally we see hauntings and it's like a haunted house, a hospital, an asylum, something like that, a graveyard. Well, what about a highway, right? So what about ghosts moving things on a road that people are driving on? Check this out. This is kind of nuts. What we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at this cone right down here. Now, this is not the only one that's going to move, but that's what we're going to start looking at.
Dilacur. Tol Panmal apa itu gerak sendiri. Tuh gerak sendiri. Tuh.
All right.
Nah loh, itu kenapa berbaris besar di tengah ya? Tuh.
Now, let me break this down for you again, okay? So we're going to start looking at this. We're going to start looking. Now, hopefully everyone saw that this right here on the bottom, this little, I call it a cone, but it looks like it's kind of like a barrier thing or a sign. This cone on the bottom moves in, okay? So it slides in. Now, there's something else I want you to look at. There's going to be a car that goes by. The car that goes by, and we have to look at the other lanes. So right now, that is the only cone or barrier that's in the road. So there's another cone up here, that's second, and then there's even one a little bit further. The road is clear all the way up until that point. Okay. And now, it was kind of hard to see, but this cone all the way up here also started moving into the lane. And we also kind of see that car slow down as it goes by, like it sees something going on. Okay. Now, that's it. That's kind of what an object looks like. But what I really liked about this video is that this video was not in someone's house. It was not in a graveyard. It wasn't in an asylum, a hospital, any of those. This is in the middle of the road, right? So maybe we'll do an episode where we just find like a theme of just things that happen to people while they're driving. This could be one of them. So this was like from a light post camera or whatever. But you clearly, you start to see this one right here, this little barrier cone start to move on its own. The other thing I like about this is it's very genuine, right? Like, whereas it's in someone's house, you could automatically think that, okay, maybe they're doing something. Where it's on the road like this, it's a little bit harder to do that. No one's around. Who's going to go stand in the middle of an interstate to move something, you know? So there's a lot of things that I like about this. So this is one of those scenarios where maybe you go back X amount of years and there weren't cameras on everything. This was still happening. We just weren't capturing it. Now that there's cameras on everything, we're capturing more, and so that's why we're seeing more clips. It's not that people are faking it to be famous. I think it's just that everyone's got a camera. My phone has a camera. Like, at any point, I'm walking around with potentially like 2 cameras on me at any time. So, you know, this is a great example of that. So yeah, I think this is a good one. I really like this. So we'll move to the next. Speaking of things, that is a scary, that's So your local crackhead. And this is basically a kid. He claims, and I'm going to say claims because I'm a little skeptical of this, but if this is real, this is crazy. This is a kid that claims he hears noises from his basement, and he also claims that he sees things moving. So he got a recommendation off of Facebook or whatever. I guess he was posting some statuses about this, and he got some recommendations that he should go and record it. Okay. Now, I've kind of screened this already. I'm just going to say, if this is real, this is bonkers. All right, now I'm gonna play it for you. So there's an introduction, and then there is kind of a slow point, and when it gets there, I'll let you know, and we'll skip forward to where it kind of kicks off.
A little bit freaked out, guys. It's no longer just at 11:30 anymore. I don't know what's going on now. I keep hearing bangs and just really weird noises coming from the basement, and a few people said that I should leave my phone down there and try to record what's happening, so that's what I'm gonna do. All right. This has me freaking stressed out like crazy.
So now he's actually just going down to his basement. I think he does do a quick look around. No jump scares here, really. This is a good scenario where he kind of goes down, kind of shows us around a little bit. And we'll talk about the possibilities of this being fake. I think whenever we play any kind of video that is going to be this intense, we have to talk about how we could recreate it. But here we go. We're finally in the basement.
Okay, I don't see anything. Handprints are still on the door.
Jesus Christ. All right, I hate every, like, you should have your camera taken away if you do shit like this.
That's creepy. Alright. Let's see what it gets.
All right, now at this point, he kind of puts his camera down very poorly and goes back upstairs. I'm going to kind of go forward a little bit until when things finally happen. Now, I watched this and nothing happens for a couple minutes until, now I'm going to go forward, let's see, 2:35. So about like a minute and a half, and then things start to happen. So I'm going to go to 2:30, but it's at 2:35 where things start to happen. Check it out. If this is real, this is crazy. All right. So you're going to hear kind of some silence, and then you're going to hear it start to pick up. So what I'm hearing is, it's kind of giving me chills. Oh, man, second time tonight. So what we're hearing right here, the best way I can describe this is it sounds like wailing, right? So like a banshee kind of thing. And then you hear a baby crying as well. Oh, man. Whew. Chills again. If this is real, I am actually like, there are very few scenarios where, you know, I go into a house, I'm like, oh, that's a poltergeist, that's, you know, a residual haunt, this, that, you know, nothing really to be scared of. A couple possibilities here, right? So what we're looking at is that's wailing. Now, we haven't even gotten into banshees on this series yet, but if that is a banshee, that's generally not a good sign. So historically, if you hear a banshee wail like that, it's a sign of death. Now, it's not necessarily the banshee that's going to kill you, could be, but it generally is just a sign that death is coming your way. Now, if it's a banshee, that's not a good sign. Here's the other possibility. What if that is some kind of portal and what you're hearing is just noises just from another dimension? Now, I don't know what dimension, but doesn't sound any place I want to go. But what if that is such a concentrated spot of energy and we don't know what this house is built on or what it's built around? What if that is a portal and just whatever, it's like in a dark room with just one flashlight on, everything's attracted to that light. We don't know what's coming out of there, but this is nuts. Absolutely crazy. If it's real. Seeing objects move for anyone. All right, now I'm going to kind of pause it there because that's kind of where it starts to die off. And then eventually he comes back and picks it up. But here's the thing, okay? So the way those objects moved and the noises, a little too good to be true in my mind. So here's what we need to look at, all right? And this is the one thing. Sounds, I would say, okay, maybe we have something. The way the objects move is kind of what threw up a red flag for me. And we're going to talk about it just because I think it's important that everyone here kind of understands what to look for. So I'm going to go full screen. When these objects move, we are looking at this little soda can thing right here. And then there's another like board right down here. They both move towards this corner of the room. Now, hypothetically, if they were tied to, or if these were attached to some kind of string, the can that's kind of up here, that would move in the direction of where whoever was pulling it. So it could be off camera. The one down here, some people would argue, okay, but that's moving a different direction. Yes, but think about kind of the physics of this. If there was a piece of string wrapped around the corner and you pulled it, what direction would that go? It would go towards that corner, right? So knowing that, let's take a look at the direction that these things move. It goes towards the corner, right? Literally, that moved right towards the corner. Like if someone would have had a piece of string to it. Those are the only red flags. Now, I don't know what this kid's basement is. He kind of did a little bit of an illusion when he first walked in. He went in, showed us what was around the corner, but didn't show off he didn't show us that if there was another entrance to get into there. And then also, we skipped ahead. It took about a minute and a half before anything really started picking up. And then when he comes back to pick up his camera, it's about another minute and a half. And then he kind of comes in and he looks around. So just long enough for someone to kind of run around and set something up and then come back. Now, here's what I'm going to say. I want this to be real. I want this to be true. But we have to look at the side of the realism on this one. And the reason, some people might be like, well, why are you playing a fake clip? Because this has gone viral and other people are, thinking, oh, it's 100% a ghost. It's a demon. Move out. Like, hold on. Let's kind of do this as a credible show and look at it. I'm not going to say it's not real. I'm going to say I want this to be real. But what I'm also going to say is those are the red flags I saw.
Hello?
And it goes on. I mean, he's just looking. So, I don't know. Listeners, what do you think? Let me know. Do we think this is real? Do we think it's fake? I'm going to tell you where I land on it. I want it to be real, and that's how I'm going to phrase it. Now, let's kind of grand finale it right here. This one's got a lot of clips. I got a lot of notes on this one. We are going back to a graveyard, all right? Remember, if we played a couple episodes ago, that guy who heard the screams, last episode we had like a super haunted house is what I called it. Tonight, we're going to be going the whole gambit of everything we've talked about. We're going to be listening for sounds, looking for shadow figures, real ghosts. We're going to be doing it all. I have them time-stamped, but we're going to break it down. Here we go. This guy is going to kind of tell us what he's doing. I think he's a YouTuber. I'm guessing it looks vlog style, but here it is.
I am literally surrounded by crypts. Look at this. Wow. This is literally the creepiest graveyard I have ever been to thus far. I just heard a cracking sound inside here. make it hard to see.
Now, right
Heard,
here,
like, a
he's
noise
going to
on the
kind of
inside.
just... He's looking around. So there are a lot of points in this video where he's just looking around. He's kind of doing some other stuff. Coming up in a moment, though, there is one thing that I really want to talk about. When I was in Tennessee, or I don't remember where I was, there was a graveyard that we went to. And I did catch an EVP, and we talked about it on the Declassified episode, and it sounded like a girl... or like a female voice just yelling, "Hey," or something like that in the background. That was cool. I found that EVP when we listened back. It's in the episode. And then when I was watching this, he captured the same thing. Like, different female, not quite yelling, "Hey," but it was like this, same exact cadence, same exact scenario as when I was there, and we caught one too. So that's going to be right here when he starts talking. You're going to see his face. Listen to the background, because he catches almost the same exact type of thing that I caught when I was in a graveyard too.
Wow. This place is phenomenal. Something else I want to show you guys. Something big. I actually saw this on Google Maps when I was seeing this place.
Did you guys hear that? I'm going to go back again because this is good. And it's almost like a huh, or it's now my voice is deeper than that would be, and my voice isn't even really that deep, but it was like a huh or something like that in the background, which is very similar to what I caught in the episode that I did.
This is phenomenal. Something else I want to show you guys. Something big. I actually saw this on Google Maps when I was seeing this place.
It was right there.
I really hope I caught that.
Anyone not on their phone with their headphones or anything, go back and listen to it with headphones. It's super clear.
I literally feel like I am out in New York City graveyard all by myself. There's just nothing. Look. Literally, I can't get that idea out of my head.
Now right there, you just audibly heard like a deep breath, like a...
Guys, it's not even nighttime yet. I found it. This is the place that I have been dying to go to since I saw this on Google Earth.
Okay, so he added music in the background. I'm not playing that game. So we're going to skip ahead to when activity starts to pick up. What this was a good example of, though, this was a great example of what the graveyard looks like in the daytime. So in the daytime, I always recommend doing this to people. Like, if you're going to investigate, walk around in the daytime. So it's going to do a couple things. One, you're going to know your surroundings. Two, it's not as scary in the daytime. So when nighttime comes around, you have more of a level head on your shoulders to where you can investigate, and you're like, oh, I turn around. Oh, I remember there was a statue there. You know, it makes it a little bit better for the mind. So that way you're not making yourself go crazy. But we're going to go forward to, let me see. I want to go forward to 9:34. So we're going to skip ahead a lot. Now at 9:34 is when we start picking up some activity. So here we go.
It's my next battery in case this one dies out. Alright, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm hearing crying sounds coming from the distance. I heard it coming from around this area. What the hell?
Now he's looking around. You're still hearing crying in the background.
Oh my god. There's crying. Alright guys, so right now, I'm still in this graveyard. What the fuck?
Oh, no.
Oh, give me a freaking break. You gotta be shitting me.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. Now, for anyone who kind of doesn't know what just happened right there, that almost gave me chills. They're like right on the edge right there. So he's talking, and then all of a sudden, music starts playing. Now, what it sounds like a music box, or it sounds like a wind-up kid's toy, which is not uncommon to see those in a graveyard. Like if a kid passes away or something like that, people will leave them toys. I don't know if they, whatever, but that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a wind-up toy, wind-up music box. Something's going on there, but it starts playing. Now, at this point in real life, probably my guard is going up significantly. I don't want to say I'm scared just yet, but my senses are now heightened, and now I'm alert.
I'm still in this graveyard. What the fuck? Oh, give me a freaking break. You gotta be shitting me. That is freaking spooky.
And it continues. But he starts walking towards it, so I give him a lot of credit there.
I'm trying to find it, but I don't want to get too close. Look at the size of this thing.
Now, he does do a couple things here that I don't agree with. He actually turns his flashlight off. I will explain why
Hello?
I don't agree with this in a second.
I'm going to save my battery on my flashlight. Let me make this brighter. There we go. Look at the size of this thing. But where the hell was that music box coming from?
So I'm going to pause right here. He turned his flashlight off. I'm not a huge fan of that. Main reason being, in a scenario, like, so if you're in a house doing an investigation, you can sit down. It's kind of a controlled environment. Whereas you're out in a graveyard like this, so we want to think that every noise we hear and everything that happens is paranormal. It's kind of the reason we're there. However, you have outside elements. Now you have safety to keep in mind, right? So a flashlight, I would generally keep it on only because, let's say that it's not something paranormal. You need to know if that's coming your way, and you don't want to find out right when you turn your flashlight on and it's right in your face, so.
But it literally sounded like a legit music box. I'm still looking around. I am freaking out. I'm gonna turn on my flashlight. Screw that. I don't care about the battery. Oh my god, this place gives me the creeps.
And now we're getting to the point where he's going to start looking in some mausoleums. There was just some knocking. More knocking.
I'm freaking out. Holy crap, I feel like I'm going to see somebody staring at me.
All right, so now we are kind of getting to the point where we are going to see something. And I'm going to kind of break this down for you so you have a chance to kind of see it. We're going to be looking in a mausoleum. It's not necessarily this one, but we're going to be looking in the doorway of a mausoleum. And it's something that, it's giving me chills just thinking about it. It's there the whole time. So once he pans his flashlight there, it's there. So it's not like it appears, but it definitely disappears on camera. Check it out.
I am heading towards the mausoleum area, which is right in front of me somewhere, right around there. And I'm going to take you guys to check this area out one more time. Then I'm going to try to see if I can head out of here because I'm pretty far from the car.
All right, now, here's how we're going to do it, all right? I'm going to give everyone who's watching a chance to see this on their own, so I'm going to play it through. I'll pause, we'll go back, and then we'll talk about it. Very similar to what we've done in the past.
All right, let me turn this. There we go. All right. There they are right there. What is it? What the fuck is that? It's like a black thing. What? Oh my god, that was so fucking creepy. I want to make sure I have a place to run. I'm gonna see if I can catch what it was that I just fucking saw. Oh my god. Hello? Oh my god. Oh my god, that was so fucking spooky. And it's not even there no more. Of course it's not even there no more.
All right, so let me kind of go back and break that down again just real quick. So if we go to where he first turns to that mausoleum. Now, what we saw was a shadow. Couple things. That shadow, the way it worked was the shadow was there when he turned the camera, and then it slowly disappeared. A couple other things that I want to point out is he kept his flashlight there. I hate the way this guy uses a flashlight because he kept turning it off and turning it on. I mean, if there's something there, we want to see it, right? So I don't like how he did that, but for the most part, he did everything right. So he kept his flashlight on it, kept his camera steady. We see that the shadow thing kind of slowly goes back. And then he gets in, and you can see all angles of that mausoleum, and there's no one in there, which is kind of crazy. So here it is.
All right, let me turn this. There we go.
So we're going to kind of watch it again.
All right. There they are right there.
Now, even as the camera's shaking, there it is. That's it. So as he was already looking up, its head was already poking out, watching him. Now, we don't know how long it was watching him for, but as soon as that light goes up, it's already there. Like, so it's there, and now he gets a little closer before he notices it.
What is it? What the fuck is that?
That's it. Now, this is your typical shadow figure, okay? Or shadow person. Now, we've talked about this before. Some people believe that shadow people are their own being. Like, they're actually not a ghost. Like, they're their own form or, like, race. Now, interdimensional. And then some people do believe that this is a spirit. So, kind of one that can interact, one that can look at you and kind of... They like to spy on you more than anything. And then when you turn around, they pop away. Very, very standard. But you're going to notice that this one, it actually goes and it slowly goes off camera.
It's like a black thing. What? Oh my god.
The other thing right here too that we need to notice and pay attention to is you're going to see his camera, or not his camera, his flashlight start to shake like he's physically shaking. I think that lends a little bit of credibility to this. We've talked about it in other clips where you hear them kind of nervous in their voice and their breath. Same thing with this. So far, it's looking real to me. Now, I do want to go back a couple seconds to where we see this shadow figure.
There they are right there. What is it?
Okay.
What the fuck is that?
And I like how he's kind of walking towards it too. Okay. Now, right here, I'm going to go full screen. One thing I want everyone to notice, and we're going to take a look at it, is this is a solid mass. So what that means is, as we're kind of looking at this shadow figure right here, you can't see through it. So like light is hitting it, and it's not even like it's transparent. It is a solid black mass, which again, in kind of the shape, I'm looking at kind of like a head poking out right there. This is your standard shadow figure. A lot of times when you see these, there's really no, other than it being startling, there's no real fear. I don't think I can ever think of a report where just a basic shadow figure has hurt a human being or attacked a human being. Now you have different versions. We have some that have red eyes, some that have green eyes. Those are different intent and meanings. But this one right here is your traditional, it's just curious. It just wants to know what's going on. And so it kind of pokes back in, and then he does a walk around and you see that there's nothing in there. I think this is a good clip. I like this.
It's like a black thing. Oh my god, that was so fucking creepy. I want to make sure I have a place to run.
Smart. Actually, that's smart. But I don't like how he keeps
I
turning his
just fucking
flashlight
saw.
off.
Oh my god.
He's doing his walk
Hello?
around. So we see the left side. He goes past. We see the right side.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that was so fucking spooky. And it's not even there no more. Of course it's not even there no more.
Now, one thing for some people, as they kind of take a look at this, they're going to say, and I know someone said it right now as they were watching already. They're going to say, oh, well, he just did left to right. He didn't actually go in. Someone could be hiding behind the walls. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Someone could be. So that's why he decides to go in.
Oh my god, I'm gonna bring up my brightness. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ, I keep fucking doing shit. I don't know what I just saw, but it literally came from this direction.
And he's 100%. That's him doing the light. I don't know. There's got to be a reason, but I think it's a stupid idea.
It literally was right here. I was literally coming from right around here, and that's when I just saw it. Like, it looked like something black. Oh my freaking god, that was so spooky. There they are right there. What the fuck is that? It's like a black thing.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is where we are going to end today's episode. We had a lot of good stuff to talk about. I was a big fan of some of the ones towards the end. Still not a fan of looking at ghosts in the face, but that's all right. Hopefully everyone's enjoying it. This episode was a little bit more spread out as far as we talked about vampires, potentially wolfmen. I guess that would be the same category. Sea creatures. We talked about night walkers. We talked about ghost moving object, orbs. And then we ended it with some graveyard footage too. So a lot of good stuff on tonight's episode. Again, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to be a VIP member, and also thank everyone who's kind of given me, ideas as far as they're like, hey, you should talk about this. You should talk about this. Look for this, that, and the other thing. So good. Let's keep it coming. Let's keep that information going. Spread the word about Declassified. The more people we get here and the more that we get subscribed, the more we can do. And it's just going to be fun. Let's get that ball rolling. And again, thanks to everyone who's checked this out from the beginning. We will see you next time on Declassified.